everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I have something a little bit different for you. I'm going to be doing a Poundland challenge. I mentioned in a community post and also just on Instagram and in videos that I want to get better at doing requested videos because I've been awful up to this point. There are still lots of suggestions that I haven't got round to. If you do have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Please feel free to comment down below or email me. But yeah, I thought I would do one of them today. So I was requested by quite a few people to do this and I thought it was a really fun idea. So all of the things that I've purchased from Poundland I'm going to be using to colour a picture. I allowed myself £5 to spend, see what I could get, and actually there are some good things and I'm optimistic that this could be really good. So I'm going to be colouring some sort of Joanna Basford PDF probably. Now I did already have this card and I swear by this card actually. I use it all the time for printing and like crafting and stuff like that. This is card from Poundland. It's £1 and it is good. It's decent card. It's very thick. I think it's 200 GSM. I already had this, so I didn't count it as part of my spending. So the first thing obviously that I got were colour pencils. So the first part of this video is going to be me testing these products out, and then I'll probably do a time lapse or something actually colouring with them. So this is a 30 pack of colour pencils. The range of colours seems to be quite good. The quality, I mean, obviously isn't going to be the best, but it will be interesting to see what they're like. There are no names or numbers, so these are, you know, just the colour on the barrel. The wood, now this is the thing that tends to happen with cheap pencils. The wood is not very good quality. I didn't buy a sharpener, but I mean, goodness knows whether it will actually work in my Degal sharpener. We'll have to see. Sorry, the Dahl sharpener. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully it will. But yes, I got these because colour pencil is my preferred choice of medium. So that's what I was definitely going to get. That was the thing I was most wanting. Now, funnily enough, my felt tips that I use when people come and things that I use sometimes have run out. So I found these ones. Now, these are classed as sketch pens, but they are felt tip pens with a reusable case. The case will come in very handy for me. I will definitely be keeping this. I was worried when I bought them. I thought that there were duplicates of the colours, but there aren't. I've checked. And the tips look really nice, actually. Quite thin. The fine liners were useless at the Poundland I went to, so I didn't get those. So this was instead of that. I'm glad that I got these because the colour range is great. So yeah, I've got those to add details and do bases. You know how much I love using fine liners, that sort of thing. And then I got a few things for embellishments. So one of the new things that's come into the Poundlands recently here is De La Rowney. I got a gold and silver acrylic paint marker. These were £1 each. Now, I have got these previously and I was not impressed because they dried out really quickly. It's been a while since I've tried them, and again, I'm hoping that they will work better. They seem more full with acrylic paint, so hopefully they will be good. I really wanted to try them again because I just thought that it might be worth giving them a go. I also saw Helena from the Colouring Zone. She got these. I was going to see if they had other colours, but that was all they had. And also, they didn't have a white gel pen of any sort, and I love using white gel pen. It's one of my favourite things to use to embellish my pages. But I did find some white acrylic paint. Again, this was £1, and I actually can use this for other projects as well. I don't really use acrylic paint. I don't have much of it lying around, so that's very handy because acrylic paint just generally is handy, especially in white. So I'll just use a paintbrush to use that and dot it on. So I'm very happy with what I've managed to get. I mean, some of the stuff is just ridiculously cheap. I mean, nowadays it's crazy that you can still get a pack of pencils for £1, to be honest. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what I can create with these. So I'm going to rearrange these pencils into an order that I think will suit me more. And I will swatch them out and see what I think of them. Okay, so I've put them into an order. Immediately I've noticed there's no black and there's no white. So I know lots of people really like using black and white normally when they're colouring to add highlights and shadow. So that's going to be interesting. Also, some of the colours do look quite similar. Some of these yellows here, there isn't really, it doesn't look to be a true red. Yeah, there are a couple of things that I guess I would change about the actual colour selection. Also, I noticed when I was opening the box, they have a funny smell, it's like a paint smell. And I think it's because these have been actually painted. You can, or like dipped in paint, you can see the barrels, but I haven't actually used them yet. So I am going to start swatching them, give you my thoughts, and then I will speed up the process afterwards, because you don't need to hear me or see me going through 30 of them. Okay, so they are quite hard and scratchy. Again, I am using their paper as well, so it's quite hard to tell whether they'd be better on better quality paper. But as I've said, I actually do like this card. They also, in some areas, just seem to be a little bit dirty. I don't know whether... Oh, sorry. I don't know whether that's the actual core or what. That yellow was better though, definitely. If I have any other specific things to mention to you, I will let you know at the end. But for now, I'm going to speed this up and get swatching. Okay, so I swatched them all out. Lots of them I noticed just felt like they had lots of filler in, which is to be expected. You know, I can't set high expectations for things really when they're a pound. So to be honest, they are a bit better than I thought they'd be. Some of them are really pigmented and are actually quite good. This yellow, the red, purple here, the blue, the greens generally are good. This colour, the maroon type colour, should have really been with the reds. But yeah, overall I think the colour variety is good. Just a couple of them look a bit muddy, and I think that's just because of the filler and I'm not sure if you can see it, and it could be because of the paper, but they just look a bit patchy. So yeah, interesting to try them out with no names or numbers. Obviously it's going to be difficult to keep them in that order, but it should be fairly obvious what's what, hopefully. Now let's have a look at these felt tips. Again, I'm going to just swatch these out, give you my first impressions with a few of them. Now this should be fairly easy to gauge what order they should be. I'm hoping that, yeah, they are different. I thought for a moment they weren't. Yes, I'm going to try and kind of swatch them near these pencils so that I can compare what they're going to look like. So on this paper, again, this paper does have tooth. So far so good. I thought they'd be pulling up the paper, but they're not. Maybe they will with the darker colours, but I'm just hoping that none of them are dry. The tips are good, so they'll be great for the fine liner work that I want to do. So I'm just going to continue swatching these and give you my final thoughts at the end. So overall, again, I'm pleased with those colours. I think they've probably got too many greens, to be honest. They could have cut one of these ones out to make room for something else. The main thing about this grey, I'd say, is more of a greeny blue. It's not a proper grey, but again, that doesn't really bother me. The black's quite good. Overall with these, I think the main thing is that the colour matching is off. It seems a bit off to me. Like this pink here isn't really close to that light pink there. The nibs are good. They're a bit firmer than like Crayola Super Tips, which of course they're going to be their finer tips. But I think the versatility you can get with them is good. You can get thin lines, perfect for fine liners, and on its side you can get thicker lines as well. I'm glad that I got the highlights, the paint for highlighting, because, you know, with there being no white, that will really help. But I'll just show you what I was talking about with the whole pulling up of the paper. I'll use this brown. So it wasn't really doing it for the first layer, but what tends to happen with felt tips is that the more layers you add, the more it starts to scrub away the paper. And with this being cheap paper, it does it very easily, and because it has a bit of tooth as well, it's doing it easily. So that's the only thing that I've got to be careful of, letting each individual layer dry. But yeah, I think together they're really good. And there are some shades that we've got here that aren't here, and darker shades as well. Like those browns are quite close to each other. We've got a black. So yeah, overall I think the colour selection is really good. I'm just going to show you the paint pens, and then we will get going on doing the picture. So I do have a paintbrush somewhere. Yes, I do. So I'm just going to see how this acrylic paint firstly works on top of the pencil and also the pen. Okay, so I'm going to see how this works. Now this is De La Roni paint, and this is the thing. The two products that I've already tested are the Poundland own paint. Well, sorry, products, whereas this is actually De La Roni, so you expect this to be a lot better in quality. Obviously what they've done though is they've done little small sizes and, you know, like selling the products individually to make them closer to being £1. So I can understand why. I think it's a brilliant idea what they've done, and they've collaborated, but it does mean that you're not going to be able to get stuff in bigger packs at Poundland. Now it is pulling up a lot of the colour. I'm not sure if normal acrylic paint does that. As I said, I don't really have any acrylic paint to compare that with, but that is adding literally all of the pink to the paint. And I'm wondering whether that's just because it's a pink, and I know that pinks do that quite a lot. Yeah, it's doing it with the brown as well. But just adding little dots on top of things seems to be fine. It does still pull up some of the colour from underneath. Now, I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem on the pencil. Ooh, now even that is pulling up some of the colour as well, and maybe that's because these are water soluble, and that's something else that I do want to test. Let me just try it with a green as well. That seems okay. That's not affecting it as much. I'm just going to grab some water. So I'd like to test whether they're water soluble or not, and also their blendability, the pencils. I'm going to grab a pencil that had fairly high pigment, just to give it a fair shot and see what it's like. They do smudge a lot as well, that's the other thing I was going to say. So let's try that one. Okay, so that's not really moving. There's a little bit of red lifting, hardly anything. I'm wondering whether a different colour might possibly work differently. Let's have a go with this purple, and we'll try blending these together in a second. That's a little bit more, but it's still not fully dissolving or moving like a watercolour pencil would. So that's quite interesting. We'll just test the blendability of these. Now, to be honest, you can pretty much make any pencil set blend to some degree. Some are going to be better than others. But yeah, this isn't terrible. I mean, they are merging. A little bit muddy in the middle, but not bad on the whole. Not showing up very well. But yeah, those tests, okay, that's interesting. So it's quite a lot to work with there, actually. I'm just going to share these markers, acrylic paint markers. I'm really hoping these work, because if they do, the embellishment will be really cool. You just have to shape these, and the tips are huge on these. That's the only thing that when it comes to using them in other projects, that's the only thing that's going to be a little bit difficult. And you can tell they're brand new because you've had to actually get that tip started. Yeah, okay, that's glittery. So that's really lovely. So they're kind of all the products tested out. The only other thing I'd like to check with these is whether you can move them around. And bearing in mind this is acrylic, so probably not that much. Just to see if I could add kind of a shimmery effect on top. Yeah, okay, I can do it with that. I'm guessing I can do it with the gold as well. And I'd also just like to see how well this white shows up with a thick layer without water on top of the paper, just to see how the opacity is. Yeah, okay, so that kind of merges with the paper, so that's not super bright, but this paper is, or card I should say, is kind of an off-white card anyway, so that doesn't matter. I probably won't be doing a background anyway with this. And it works well on top of that as well. Okay, so I've enjoyed testing these out, seeing what's what works, what I will just need to be a bit wary of when I colour my page. So I'm going to pick one and we will get started with the actual colouring part of this video. Okay, so I've chosen the picture that I'm colouring. I'm going to be doing this little emblem from Worlds of Wonder by Joanna Basford. Now this was actually a free download that Joanna Basford did when she released Worlds of Wonder. It's not actually in the book, I don't think. If you do want to get this though, you just need to go on the link that was inside the book and it should take you to it. I chose to do this because it's not too detailed. I also made it smaller than what it was, so that's why there's two on this sheet, just because it will take me less time, and that's good because I don't have that much time to be able to do this. So I'm probably not going to film every single bit of this because, or like time lapse it, because I don't have the space. So I'll share parts as I go along so that you can see what I'm doing, and then of course I'll share at the end how I coloured it, what I used, and how I think it was overall. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started. So here's my completed page for the Poundland challenge. I really enjoyed it, and thank you for the suggestions, because this was really interesting to have a go at. As I said, the actual quality of the products wasn't the best. Apart from the acrylic paint and the paint markers were good because they were the Daler Roni. But as I said, I had fun with it, and that's the main thing. And at the end of the day, it was just interesting to try something new out and see how they performed. Because I did also perform on this, work on this card that is probably not the best. That probably made it a little bit more difficult to work with in terms of colour pencil, because usually I don't work with colour pencil on this. But yeah, it was just an interesting challenge. So if you have any other suggestions for videos, as I said, please let me know down in the description. I'd be really interested to know. And yeah, that's everything from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.